Namaskar, I'm Ashok Vyas and I welcome you to this special edition of This Week with Padma Shri Dr. Sudhir Parikh, and so much has happened. Freshly talking and picking up a couple of threads with Dr. Parikh, I take this opportunity to welcome you.
Namaskar.
Doctor, before we get into the current scenario of politics and how budget is going to shape up, allow me to ask you, how do you see the relationship that an entrepreneur need to learn about between politics and entrepreneurship?
It means how entrepreneurs should behave in politics.
No, what I say is how they should keep themselves updated about the political developments.
I think most of the successful entrepreneurs are aware of or they do update themselves on daily basis about politics, because politics does affect their successful business directly. So they cannot afford to not to be in touch with the politics.
Absolutely. And when we are talking about Indian Americans, then it becomes even more important that you keep updated with American politics as well as Indian politics.
That is true. That is true.
And recently, Indian government has laid out 2020 budget. Today, as we speak, after low, the market has shown tremendous positive results, and investors are richer by 3.57 lakh crores in 2 days. That's the news. Now, what are the main features of this budget that you found are impressive?
But the market went up in India, you mean?
India.
Yeah, because I think because what budget, I think key point is because they lower the taxes on everyone, and there are so many slabs of the taxes, and they put more money into the consumer's hand, and that is the best way to stimulate the economy.
And when we talk about economy, it is a political exercise sometimes, the way budget has its priorities. So, in terms of the balanced approach in the budget, how would you rate it?
Well, I think it's really good. I would rate almost 8 to 9 out of 10, because what government has done is that give the growth. Stimulate the growth of the country by giving the more money into the consumer's hand, and also they had a lot of government asset to be disinvested, and that money will come. They're hoping a large chunk of that money will come into the in the market. Government's hand, to do all the different projects, government-run projects. So I think it's a great idea. Particularly, it's a great idea to make LIC private, because as you know that LIC is full of very rich corporation. It's right now is run by government, which is sometime good, sometime, I'm not talking about any particular government, I'm talking about any government, and sometimes it's become a cookie jar.
Correct.
And then they dip into that cookie jar whenever they want to, and I think that is not a good idea. It's better to have let market forces decide how good they are doing, and they will do good, and with that even consumer will do good, those who will invest into it.
And people are looking at this budget as a foundation for long-term economic growth of India, and taking that cue towards the image of Indian government at the moment in the context of continued protest against Citizenship Amendment Act. Do you see these kind of protests are hindrance for India's economic progress?
Well, protests are a fundamental right in the democracy. So up to that point, protests are welcome, because without protest, there is no other way general population can vent out their dissent, or vent out their opinion, or vent out their support to the government. Number two, but right now the protest is happening against CAA. It's not good because CAA is now law. Once a law happens in any country, every citizen has to abide by that law.
Correct.
And if you don't abide by law, then you are breaking the law. And when you break the law, you are subject to consequences of the breaking the law. So I think so I think protest will die down in probably in a short time, and hopefully it will die down peacefully. And government then should educate more aggressively to the people that what is their real good agenda for doing this thing, or reason for doing this thing, to help the kind of empowering the population of the India.
So you have said it beautifully, and I think nobody can say it in such a calm manner, all that you have conveyed in the last 2 minutes. But now look at the other side of it. Even when they are aware of it, they don't want to accept what is there in front of them, and there is misinformation campaign, and probably, as Prime Minister Narendra Modi himself put it, that there is some ulterior motive, back design behind this protest, and especially at Shaheen Bagh in New Delhi. So now it becomes even more challenging for government to deal with the situation so that they don't come across very harsh and there is no more sort of disruption.
Well, I agree with you, and but that's democracy. And in democracy, a lot of things are good thing, and something are not good thing, and we have to handle both of them appropriately, without sounding that you are harsh, without sounding you are arrogant, without sounding you are not listening to people. If you do that, and more educating more to the people, common people, more education, more public relations, I think that goes long way. And any issue which is kind of controversial or kind of has a lot of dissent can be resolved.
I appreciate that spirit, and in that spirit, staying at Delhi, because elections are probably next time when we meet, we will already have the results of Delhi Vidhan Sabha. But the continued protest at Shaheen Bagh in Delhi has caused a lot of inconvenience for Delhiites. Many people cannot go to their daily work, etc. Do you think government should have taken some steps already so that the situation would not have continued this far?
That's true. Government should have done something beforehand. I mean, so it won't go this far. But we don't know. I mean, why and what happened. I mean, who's thinking what?
Correct.
So it's difficult to judge retrospectively. But I think it is time now to wind up that protest. People heard the dissent, and hopefully Supreme Court will decide whether this is constitutional or not constitutional.
Right. So Supreme Court refused to give a stay order to it, which...
Right. But Supreme Court has to give verdict eventually.
Correct.
And let Supreme Court decide. And if whatever Supreme Court decides in their wisdom, it's a wisdom.
Absolutely. Now, continuing with budget and NRIs, do you see something which would make you a little bit more excited about investing in India from this budget?
Yeah, I mean, they are doing, I mean, a lot of disinvestment of the large companies, corporations. So being NRIs or being OCI, I think this is a great opportunity to get together and be part of that opportunity. And also, myself and a good friend of mine called Dr. B.K. Modi, Modi Group, we started one club called OCI Club, and we are encouraging a lot of high-end hotelier, those who are OCI, to come to India and invest in particularly in the Kashmir area or Jammu and Kashmir area or Northeast India or even in Delhi or Mumbai, because even though the number of 5-star hotels or 4-star hotels are not enough in India, and I think and for that we are trying to kind of propose to government how they should treat the OCI, means the person. I mean, we are not talking about NRI. NRI is different, and somehow in India the NRI has little bad resonance than OCI.
Why?
Because some NRI, anybody can be NRI, even though you are not outside India. You can be NRI because you get you go somewhere, get that green card or whatever white card, or and go back to India, right? But OCI is really a real overseas citizen of India, and government should give them a very favorable terms and conditions, like they don't have to stay in India 180 days in order to do the business there. Should be little less than that, which is more practical. And now I understand that they are going to cut down to 120 days per year you have to stay in India. So that will really perk or stimulate a lot of overseas Indian investor to invest in India.
Absolutely. And switching gears slightly, because Delhi elections are almost there, and by the time we meet again, we will know exact results. But hypothetically speaking, as is evident that Aam Aadmi Party is likely to retain its strength for Delhi Vidhan Sabha, will that be a reflective of people's perception about central government, Prime Minister Narendra Modi's leadership?
I don't think so. People still believe overwhelmingly, almost 70 to 80% of the people believe that Prime Minister Modi is doing excellent work as far as whole India on national level. And all this Delhi election, I mean, right now all the polls are suggesting that AAP has quite a bit lead in this election. But again, as you know, that local elections are always fought on the local issues. It's never fought on the India-Pakistan or national issue. And therefore, because locally people want what they got, their local facilities and local privileges and local rights and all those things. So that's reason probably if AAP has performed good in last 5 years, people will vote for them, and I would not be surprised for that.
So again, we will have definite results with us soon. But as we conclude, I want to thank you for having touched a wide range of subjects, some which people are already thinking about, some which people are likely to think about tomorrow. Your parting words for...
Well, again, this is our first episode of this week with the Dr. Sudhir Parikh. I would like to wish Happy New Year, even though it's a little late, but Happy New Year to all of our viewers, and would like you to join us again with this kind of very stimulating discussion of different issues affecting India and USA and all overseas Indians who are outside India. Please join us. See you next time. Thank you. God bless America. God bless India. Jai Hind.